but I can't write a check for $4,000. So I want a professional to help us, and that's what I want to say.
Everything I said about what we want to do in the near term involves trying to resolve this and build, conditions of trust, because we realize that the way things have been going in various respects since, we went through a change in management, and then we had these emergencies, and it has not inspired any of us to feel a great deal of confidence that everything's going to be okay. And I would be lying to you if that had been my impression of things. So when you're working on a train that's hiccuping, you keep hoping it's going to keep moving, and that the next time you go to send the engineer back, he'll fix it. But we obviously just have to dig in deeper and work harder. So, and with your help, I think we'll
part B is, I already got the siding. Do I get that option of getting more insulation?
We'll have to ask them whether they're willing to do insulation for those that have already been sited. Yes.
Okay. Fred Park, Enid Park, Balance, 3315. I think she just hit upon something. You mentioned that you aren't up to speed on what insulation needs to be done, but your siding company does, because when they pulled the siding off, they were going to contact individual people. I think you need to make sure the siding company is going to do some insulation, because if you don't have that done, you're going to regret it a year, 2 years from now. And I think basically what everybody here tonight is, in business you hate surprises. You just hate surprises. And when I owned my own business, people that surprised me a lot tended to go away.
Yes, George.
I've been a member of this association for 20 years, and I've been a member of another association in Dover for 20 years, maybe 21 years. One of them is managed the way Remington Post is managed. The other one is managed by a management company out of California. Every month, my check goes to California. And if I want something done, I don't know how the world to do it. If I want something done here, I talk to Barney, and it gets done. If somebody thinks that they're going to get a better job out of some professional that is 10 states away, you got to be kidding.
Well, they don't have to be 10 states away.
Fair enough. When we consider offsite management, which we're going to be doing, we're certainly going to be looking at that. That's just an important part. That's an important ingredient. And it may well be that there is a mixed model here that will actually preserve what we're used to. Andy?
Andy, 3150, 3240. I also have a management company that's right on 6th and Canyon, and they're never available to do a damn thing, and it's taken 3 years for them to do a flooring job that I thought would take about 6 months. So in light of what George says, I have to agree, there's just no one to be found when there is an emergency, or even a long-term project. You can shake your head, Mr. California, but I can tell you, it's true. Casting company.
Fire him. We can't fire these guys.
I can't fire him either. I can't fire him. I have to go through the same rituals with the board. I can't do it.
In fact,
I'd like
I
to.
said it and I'll say it
I'd like to
again,
go
in the
through
mixed
the
model,
recap, but I
which we
can't.
keep some on-site staff, but we have professionals who oversee things that they're professional in, which is what we're really talking about. All these things that we're talking about here involve specialized expertise about long-term reserve funds, reserve studies, figuring out how you're going to manage these expenses over time, how to manage the budget overall. We have largely been doing it at the seat of our pants based on past experience. It would help to have some professional advice, but we may not have to give up the on-site familiar person that we can go to, that we can call. Are there still going to be people in the office to answer the phones? I can't imagine that we would arrange anything that would not continue to give us the kind of access to someone who at least will say, yes, I've heard what you said, and I'm writing it down, and we're going to send someone to deal with it. So, yeah.
Jason, let's get the back.
Okay, please.
I'm Ms. Randall, and I just want to give a perspective that I haven't heard yet. we're actually investors in property here. We're not homeowners, we don't live here. And the condo prices here are dirt cheap. And the reason they're dirt cheap is because the way the place looks. So when you're talking about investing this money, it's not that you're getting nothing for it. If you look just at what they've done just south of you in
Yes.
Stratford Park,
Yes.
it looks beautiful.
Yes.
They slapped some paint on.
And
Okay?
insulation.
And from what I'm hearing today, it sounds like people who are gonna have trouble making those payments, accommodations can be made, but they have to be made under the table. I'm a lawyer too, and I know they can't send out that piece of paper that says, oh, but it doesn't apply to you. You can't do it. But the fact that you've got a management model that allows that to happen is awesome. It really is. And those of us who can pay will pay. But if you tell us we don't have to pay, we can pay $500 in September and $500 in October and $500 in November, I ain't giving you $2,000 next month.
Thank you for saying that, because this was one of the things that came up when we were deciding how much and what chunk. Because if you say to me, who has the money, well, you know, I mean, I'm actually, you know, I'm probably going to pay $2,050 instead of $4,100, and I've got the $4,100. That's how stupid I am.
That's too bad.
Right, and the thing
But
that's
that's how
going to
humans
happen
are.
is if you keep it on the schedule that is on right now, the people who can do it will pay it. Hopefully, that will give you enough to do what needs to be done, get the work started. The people who can't, I have to take everyone at their word that everything will be done. But please look long term, because if you don't, what's going to happen is people who invest in your properties are not going to be interested in them. If you want to sell, you're going to be at the very bottom of the market.
Thank you.
If you have neighbors who are renting, and you change this into a monthly assessment, so that a monthly assessment is $300–400 a month, no investor in Boulder is going to be able to make money if they have to pay that out as a monthly assessment. If you get the big assessment out of the way, it's incorporated then into the value of your condo, and it's a lot more attractive when you're ready to sell. Your neighbors who rent have a much more stable rental environment. There have been at least 5 rental properties in this development that went on the market last week. Investors are getting out. So it's just, if you want to preserve your property values,
Yeah, and I think
This is probably the
part
way to
B
go.
to that is making sure that the money, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but making sure that we're purchasing something, well, you know,
absolutely, but hiring all these professionals to oversee all the other professionals costs money.
Yeah, let's, thank
Okay,
you.
this
Let's,
is, thank you
and
very
then
much.
it's
Can I make one point?
no, we have someone with their hand up a long time here.
Lynn Harvey, 3300. It seems to me that if we're going to do siding and roofs, let's look forward. Let's do it right. There shouldn't even be a question about whether or not there's insulation. We should have insulation in all of the siding and all the walls. Our pipes froze last year because we have no insulation between our wall and the exterior. When all the buildings get sided, they should all be insulated and should be working apart. And the roofs, there is no insulation between our ceiling and the roof. I mean, it's just put some insulation and let's do it right. Let's look forward. Let's look forward to the smart regs and do it right, you know? Yeah. How are we making?
Could I point out just one thing? You've been conducting this whole meeting, and if you turn around and look at the backdrop behind you, sometimes the maintenance is the devil of the details, and it just doesn't look good.
All right.
What?
Yeah, but that's the
Oh, the nail.
I had a
No,
painting
just a whole
business.
paint. Look at all the.
I had a painting business, and if you buy a gallon of paint, I'll paint it.
I'm glad somebody brought it.
Okay, so we're looking at $125,000 large sided project coming up as one of our first priority projects. How are we going to know what is included in that estimate and whether it's going to meet these regulations before we pay for it?
You're gonna know because we're gonna try to make sure that happens.
Do you have a written contract?
Of course we have a
The
written contract.
insulation in there that we're all talking
Now,
about?
wait a minute, look, okay, let me restate. The smart rigs is a new thing that has just been imported into this. We do not have an arrangement with the Platte River Company to do insulation. We have an arrangement with them to do insulation for homeowners that are willing to pay for it.
It's not.
If we get insulation for all the buildings, it's going to bump the cost of this assessment from 1.14
units, so
to about
$278,000.
about 300,000. Look, that's why we asked if they would offer it to those homeowners who were willing to pay it. The smart regs thing needs to be looked into. I have not been persuaded yet, and we're gonna get professionals to advise us about whether that's so damn important that it now is this new thing. It's so gigundo and important that everything else we've been dealing with pales by comparison. It might just be like that. I don't know.
I want to speak to that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I want to speak to that issue about smart rigs. I just had to undergo a bit of an audit, if you will, because it changed management companies for the property they have here, 3365. And they assured me that if there's any work done in terms of replacing the windows like we've mandated that have been done by 2011 and so forth, that your condo as it stands would easily sail through this. That you can get it up further with insulation, but I think what we're worried about here is getting hit broadside with condos that fail, and then we have to, suffer those repercussions. And that if you've done any work in terms of windows, putting some weather strip under your door and all of the other common measures that I know that people have taken, then you'll breeze right through the smart regs thing. They're really talking about much more like where you can feel a breeze inside the unit.
Is yours a first floor or second floor or
third floor?
Oh, it's a third floor?
It is.
I don't know. They made us do all of them in Arborwood because the top floor units will not pass unless they have seating.
I have a management company known as 4-Star. We're taking a walk through the property tomorrow. I'll ask them that specific question.
Yeah, it's only the top floor.
Where it is in the building, in first, third. Tell me where we can get more information on that. We want to be very, very, I hate this word, proactive.
The problem is I can't go through the roof for us.
Yeah,
I gotta rip the decking off.
That's right.
That's the problem with getting the roof involved in that.
Are we in the process of interviewing any property management consultants?
Not yet.
Right now.
Have we in the past?
Yeah.
We have. I guess you didn't hear when we earlier were talking
Yeah,
about
I
it.
heard
5
you
or
said
6
you
years ago,
recently
we had a
talked
subcommittee and we actually talked to people who were involved in management. And we're going to be starting
Jason,
that
I'd like to
process
say
again.
something.
Just a second.
I've
Because
been
she had her hand up. Well,
I'll differ.
okay, you
I
two.
understand that we need to get things done, and I respect the woman over there. But the fact is, we're all gonna put $4,100 or whatever $1,000 into roofs and siding, but you walk into, like, look at the grounds, look at the hallways, look at the laundry rooms, okay, that's one thing. Number two, I'm a person, I'm sorry to say, that I don't have a lot of money. So what happens if I can't afford it, even in a payment plan? So you put a lien on my place? What is that gonna do for everybody here that can't sell their place because there's gonna be more people with liens on them? And that's gonna take the value down too. I mean, there's gotta be some kind of compromise in the sense of, I think there should be emergencies, but I think we're overlooking certain, people walk up to these condos and they look, I hate to use the word, but I'm gonna use it because I'm a New Yorker, it's ghetto. I mean, the grass looks bad, the halls look bad. I mean, I walked around, the lights on the front doors of the building, I don't know if you guys noticed, besides being crooked, there's like 600 ants or bugs, I
I mean, dust. You know, I